Welcome back to Free Media. I'm Amber Duke.
And I'm Robby Soave. Well, federal immigration authorities marched through a park in Los Angeles on Monday, and Mayor Karen Bass was not happy about it. In a press conference, she denounced what she describes as ICE ratcheting up chaos at MacArthur Park. Let's watch.
So I went to MacArthur Park because it is very important that the truth be told about what happened there. Now, you can spin it any way you like, but in my opinion, it's a political agenda of provoking fear and terror. Frankly, it is outrageous and un-American that we have federal armed vehicles in our parks when nothing is going on in the parks. It's outrageous and un-American that the federal government seized our state's National Guard. It's outrageous and un-American that we have U.S. Marines who are trained to kill foreign soldiers overseas deployed in our American city. So here's the truth. There's no plan other than fear, chaos, and politics. Home Depot one day, a car wash the next, armed vehicles and what looked like mounted military units in a park the next day.
So I don't usually agree with Karen Bass, and I don't care for her very much as a public official. And I would, quibble with her characterization. I watched the footage of the troops in MacArthur Park, and I didn't think it was like the most shocking display of fascism I've ever seen. They're on horseback marching through the park. All that said, they didn't arrest anybody. I don't know why they needed to be there, really. It sounds like it was mildly disruptive, or that they had to clear people who were playing in the park out of the way. Why? For what? If they were clearing people out of the way for, because they were violating COVID protocols, I'm sure the right would not have been happy about it. So what am I missing here?
Yeah, well, I guess I didn't know that they didn't arrest anybody, but they were ostensibly there for some kind of immigration raid. I found out today that apparently MacArthur Park is nicknamed Meth Arthur Park because it's not exactly this nice place where kids are going down slides, as Karen Bass suggested, but she was getting up in the face of some of the immigration officials and telling them they needed to leave. And it's like, lady, you don't have jurisdiction here. This is a federal immigration operation. And look, we've talked about this before. I want to deport everybody. You want to deport criminals. I know.
I do not.
This will be an ongoing point of disagreement between us. But one other thing I wanted to talk about in this segment, because I think it's relevant, is that there were two attacks in the past few days on immigration officials. Both were in Texas. The first one took place on Friday, where there was a suspicious individual outside of a ICE facility in Alvarez, Texas, and when a police officer went to investigate, he was shot in the neck. Luckily, looks like he's going to survive. And then on Monday morning, there was a planned ambush at an ICE facility in a separate part of Texas, where people started firing off bullets at Border Patrol agents, and they actually ended up catching all of the suspects, all 10 of them. And I just got to say, the photos of these individuals look exactly like what you would expect. It's like just a group of the most
Berkeley type
Berkeley
people.
Antifa looking freaks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's when you hear
Antifa.
Yeah, Antifa. They're coordinated. It's a group. They're terrorists.
Yeah.
But I know that we are always careful about drawing direct connections between rhetoric and violence, and I generally agree with that. But I do think there's been a lot of hyperbole about ICE operations from people like Mayor Bass, where they're calling them fascists, comparing them to Nazis, and refusing to cooperate. And now we have a bunch of leftists trying to shoot up Border Patrol agents. It's just a really toxic environment right now, with attacks on border agents up 700%. I think you need to let these people do their jobs.
Well, obviously, yes, no one should physically confront or fight with law enforcement, let alone try to engage in actual violence against them, shoot them, those sorts of things. That's terrible ideas. I find it interesting that there was that report in, I think, Axios, that Democratic
constituents,
the base wants lawmakers to the literal line wants their lawmakers to get shot by
willing
ICE,
to get shot,
which is terrible.
Commit violence on behalf of saving democracy.
Yeah, that's all bad. But I think she has I'm not a big fan of Karen Bass. I hate the kind of COVID governance that that California, for instance, had that I would describe, again, maybe not as fascism, but as kind of authoritarian and at the very least extremely annoying. I don't like the idea of, if the federal officials or the federal law enforcement has to be there to, yes, they can carry out immigration raids. They have the right to deport people. I, again, want them to prioritize violent criminals, not people who are otherwise law-abiding. The federal law enforcement can come in if there's, rioting and things being set on fire. That's just going to happen. There's public support for that. I don't like the idea, though, of them just kind of having a permanent presence in Los Angeles that's contrary to what the local government wants and is not in direct response to, and it's just kind of like, we're hanging around, we're gonna march through the park. Maybe it's not a nice, I would not be surprised if it's not a very nice park, if it's overrun by drug debt, and I would certainly support that issue being dealt with. I don't think a crackdown from federal law enforcement is the right way. I don't think it's the obligation of our federal
I don't think they were there because of the meth, but because apparently there are a lot of illegals that hang out there. But I think the problem is that the officials like Karen Bass want it both ways, where they want to say, like, well, we got jurisdiction over our matters, but we're also not going to cooperate with federal law enforcement. So if you're in a jurisdiction, a county, a city, a state, and you have a sanctuary law where you actually could prioritize violent criminals very easily by issuing detainers on people who have been accused of committing crimes or have already committed crimes and waiting for ICE to show up and remove them, this whole thing would move a lot faster. But they're refusing to do that, and so that's what you get. You get raids.
Well, Trump is clearly afraid of the Amber Duke vote, of losing it, because I can tell that he absolutely does not want to do deportations of the farm workers and the hotel workers and all that, and he keeps floating that idea, only to kind of backpedal when you and Stephen Miller and those kinds of people say, no, we voted for this. He absolutely doesn't want to do that.
I hope he's listening to me.
No, I hope he's listening to me,
and
we're battling for the soul. You and I are on his shoulders. You saying,
the angel and the
devil. They all gotta go. I voted for this. Me saying, Jesus Christ, can we be a little bit discerning?
And he said in the cabinet meeting on Tuesday that he is absolutely not doing amnesty, and Brooke Rollins confirmed. So hopefully this is the last we hear about those darn farm workers.
He is doing it. He is doing it.
He better not.
We'll see.
I'll come after him. Legally and without violence, yes. Unlike the Dem constituents.
You're not throwing your body in the line of the.
I'm not gonna intentionally get arrested or anything.
Come after him. We mean.
Verbally, yes, I will issue very sharp opinions on reason and rising.
We are keyboard warriors,
yes.
If ever there was a pair. Thanks for watching Free Media this week. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment. Tell us how we're doing, and you will see more of us. Rather, we don't really see you because it's a one-way sort of thing, but you will see more of us next week. Take care.